Hi guys. Today is Tuesday, April 21st, and we are going to look at some more poetry. So let me expand that screen, and we're going to start by looking at page 55 in our poetry book, which is about the sonnet. Okay, so we'll start with the sonnet. And again, this is in our book that's called The Making of a Poem, a Norton Anthology of Poetic Forms by Mark Strand and Evan Boland. And we're looking at the section called The Sonnet at a Glance on page 55. So the sonnet is a poem of 14 lines, usually iambic, and I will explain what iambic means in a few minutes. It has to do with the pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables. There are two kinds of sonnet with very different histories, the Petrarchan and the Shakespearean. The Petrarchan sonnet is Italian in origin. It has an octave of 8 lines and a sestet of 6. And the rhyme scheme of the octave is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, and the sestet would be C, D, E, C, D, E. The Shakespearean sonnet was developed in England, and it's a little different. The Shakespearean sonnet has far more than just surface differences from the Petrarchan. The rhyme scheme of the Shakespearean sonnet is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, G, G. There is no octave sestet structure to it. The final couplet, meaning the last 2 lines, is a defining feature. All right, the history of the sonnet form. So you can find this on page 56. The sonnet's origins are in the small sunlit courts of Sicily, our book tells us. Francesco Petrarca, who lived in Tuscany and was born in 1304, published his Canzoniere, a sequence of 366 poems, 317 of which were sonnets to an idealized lover called Laura. And that collection of poems, the Canzoniere, became like a bestseller in Europe. One of the features of the sonnet that survives to the present day is the octave and sestet division, the 8 lines and the 6 lines. One strong opening statement of 8 lines is followed by a resolution to the emotional or intellectual question of the first part of the poem. So in other words, in the octave, the poet kind of sets up a question or a problem and then uses the sestet to sort of answer that question or resolve that problem. This shape made the sonnet a self-sufficient form, open to shades of mood and tone. When the sonnet came to England, the poets Thomas Wyatt and his friend the Earl of Surrey adapted it. They used the octave, the 8 lines, but they introduced a rhyming couplet at the end, and they added more rhymes. The ending, the final couplet, gained more resonance. The final couplet was considered declamatory and made the book says, the loudest part of the poem. So, if the sonnet is sort of posing a problem or asking a question and then answering it, that couplet at the end is sort of like a loud announcement, right? A big announcement that answers the question. Okay, the Shakespearean sonnet. So now we're looking at page 57. The Shakespearean sonnet has 3 quatrains and a final couplet. This allowed a fairly free association of images to develop lyrically toward a conclusion. The contemporary context. The sonnet is a fun form because it's short and it's easy to comprehend, but its form also follows debate and subtle argument. It's a great form for posing a question and then resolving it. So I'm going to pause this and then create a second part.